It's 3 July 2024, and today I'm going to be giving you my first update this week from my house. And this is because I've obviously been traveling. And I would like to say a lot of people now know that there's a protest that is going to take place in Zambia on the 13th of July. And this protest is aimed at SADC. So this is a protest that is going to take place by Zimbabweans. Some are going to travel from Zimbabwe. Some are going to travel from all over the world. Some are going to be based in Zambia. And we all need to come together and make SADC aware that Zimbabweans are fed up of Mnangagwa, and Zimbabweans want change, and Zimbabweans want the situation in their country to improve. And it is specifically very, very important for these countries in Southern Africa to understand that because of what has happened with the elections in 2023, Zimbabweans are now in a more difficult position. It's now more difficult in Zimbabwe. The situation is deteriorated. And politically, it's no longer sustainable for Mnangagwa to stay in office. So these are the last weeks which we're going to be talking about this. And Mnangagwa is going to be on the agenda on SADC during the SADC summit. The SADC summit is going to be held between the 16th and the 20th of August in Zimbabwe. Most of the presidents of African countries or the Southern African countries are going to be in Zimbabwe. And the protest that is going to happen in Zambia is going to happen on the Saturday, and Saturday is the 13th of July. So let's get this date correct. So Saturday, the 13th of July, there's going to be a protest in Lusaka by Zimbabweans, and this protest is aimed at SADC. The SADC organ has got a committee called the Ministerial Committee of the Organ, and this Ministerial Committee of the Organ is going to be meeting in Zambia on the 13th. So Mahosi is probably leaving today or tomorrow to go over to Zambia, and it's very important. So Mahosi, Elias Mahosi, is the executive secretary of SADC. He's probably going to be moving to Zambia very, very soon, within this week. And on arrival, the important business that they're going to be taking care of is to say what's on the agenda of SADC when the SADC summit sit in Zimbabwe. And most Zimbabweans are fed up of the situation in Zimbabwe, but they don't know how to address it. SADC is going to play a very critical role in addressing the situation in Zimbabwe. And this is because of three big reasons. If you look at SADC, all these countries around us, they've got a massive influence on Zimbabwe. However, because Mnangagwa wants to be the chairperson of SADC, he has been going around trying to influence these countries, paying off people, and he even paid for the SADC chairmanship. However, according to the SIOM report of SADC, Mnangagwa's election that he held in 2023 were not free and fair. They did not meet 17 out of 20 criteria. So SADC is important because, according to the SADC treaty, SADC can actually intervene in Zimbabwe. And let me explain to you how SADC can intervene in Zimbabwe. Firstly, SADC can make sure that there is a dialogue in Zimbabwe, and a dialogue process which is mediated by SADC is what people want. They want the situation to change in Zimbabwe. Specifically, Zimbabweans want Mnangagwa to step down. They want Mnangagwa to step down and for a transitional authority to be in place, leading to fresh elections. So these are the demands that Zimbabweans have got. And I often display this for you here. Almost every evening, I display this for you so that they become clear. And also, as we send this to our rural families, we are sending this on a daily basis to our rural families. These are the demands that we're making to SADC. And let me display these again as I do every night. Mnangagwa cannot be SADC chairman. Zimbabwe SIOM report must be on the agenda of the SADC summit, and the national dialogue mediated by SADC must be put in place, coming out of the realization that the situation in Zimbabwe is not sustainable. It's not possible for Zimbabwe to continue the way it is. Zimbabwe has become a big problem for the region. Many people in Southern Africa are affected by the presence of Zimbabweans. If you look at South Africa, there are over 4 million Zimbabweans in South Africa. If you look at Zambia, Zambia is overwhelmed by the number of Zimbabweans, including students and people who work in Zambia. The level of people in management positions in Zambia is very, very high. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. All I'm saying is these opportunities that are there should be going to people in those countries, but Zimbabweans are currently dominating some of the places. If you go to Namibia, it's the same. If you go to even countries as far as Mozambique, it's full of Zimbabweans who are just running away from home. Zimbabweans are not in their country, and Zimbabweans need to go back to their own country and not be a country where half of the population is outside. So this is the main reason why we are saying SADC must intervene in Zimbabwe, because Zimbabwe is a regional problem. It's a regional problem that is affecting everyone. And as I say to everyone, almost on a daily basis, there is a lot of goodwill. People want Zimbabwe to do well. People in various levels of society, they want Zimbabwe to do well, including the presidents of SADC. However, Mnangagwa has been refusing to engage with the report of the CIOM. Mnangagwa has been refusing all efforts to mediate by various African leaders, even by groups that have approached Mnangagwa. And we're talking here of people like men of God, respected leaders. Mnangagwa has refused to engage with all these people, and he has been very, very stubborn. He has attempted to make himself the chairperson with the view that once he's chairperson, everyone is going to respect him. His wife, Auxilia Mnangagwa, has made herself and declared herself as the environmental ambassador of SADC. How crazy is that? The wife of Mnangagwa says she's the environmental ambassador of SADC. And that's crazy. It's not true. These are kind of things that are just being said to make people believe that SADC supports Mnangagwa. I know for a fact that SADC believes that the election in Zimbabwe was not free and fair. And that is why Zimbabweans have to protest. I now want to go to why Zimbabweans are protesting in Zambia on the 13th of July. The reasons why Zimbabweans are protesting in Zambia is that Mnangagwa and his government have threatened to kill protesters on a number of occasions. They've even killed protesters in the past. But this week, Mnangagwa and his closest supporters have threatened to kill supporters. They've issued statements of threats. And therefore, before Zimbabweans can protest in Zimbabwe, there must be a clear item on the agenda of SADC that says there's a discussion on Zimbabwe. So you cannot just randomly protest. And I always tell people that don't just protest without a proper objective. So firstly, before we go and have a protest in Zimbabwe, there must be an agenda item on the SADC summit, which says we're going to discuss Zimbabwe and the communique is going to speak about Zimbabwe. Once you do that, Mnangagwa cannot become chairperson of SADC because it's going to be discussed at the SADC summit. So that is the process. You have to understand the process. You can't just get Mnangagwa out without a process. And Mnangagwa is going to go out, but it will take a process. If you try to confront Mnangagwa head on, he's going to shoot to kill. So Mnangagwa is going to shoot to kill. That is what he has threatened to do, and that is what he has promised to do. So it's important for a process to be followed. And let me take you through the process. So firstly, there must be a protest in Zambia on the 13th of July. Before that process happens, a letter must be written to the SADC committee of the organ. So there must be a proper letter with demands to the ministerial committee of the organ, which state these facts that I've just said here. I've been engaging with people close to Nelson Chamisa and saying this letter must come from Chamisa. It must not come from anyone else. However, if the guys around Chamisa don't want to issue that letter, we are going to issue that letter. I'm going to find the right people to issue that letter. And that letter must state what I just said here, that Mnangagwa cannot be chairperson of SADC, that the election CIOM report of August 2023 must be on the agenda for discussion, and that there must be dialogue which is mediated by SADC, and this dialogue must take place soon after the summit. It must be on the communique, and there must be particular and specific timelines, which says after this particular period, SADC will come out and report back on the dialogue. So these are very specific. But going further, we need to make sure that in Zimbabwe, Mnangagwa is given a particular period of time in which he must step down. There must be a transitional system, after which there must be a fresh election. So a fresh election is necessary in Zimbabwe, because what has happened after the election is that Mnangagwa and the people close to him have decimated the opposition. They've recalled the MPs, councillors, and senators of the opposition and replaced them with their own people. During this process, people have been killed. For example, Pastor Tafmani Masaya was killed in Mavuku whilst campaigning for a candidate, and the candidate was in opposition or contesting against Scott Sakupanya. Scott Sakupanya is a ZANU-PF MP who got in uncontested after the murder. So because of fear, people ended up not contesting that election. So all the people that you see that have came into office as MPs, councillors, and senators, most of them from ZANU-PF, have came in through a process that is flawed and through a recall process that was initiated by someone who is not qualified or who is not supposed to be making those recalls. So whatever parliament you've got, Senate you've got, and councils you've got, they are not supposed to be in place. Those are not the right people that are supposed to be in place. Therefore, there's supposed to be a fresh election in Zimbabwe, which will reverse all these problems. The CM report, the recalls, the murders that have taken place, and also the people that have replaced them who are not supposed to be in those places. And what is happening right now, and the revelations to do with the election ballot printing, it shows that clearly there was something wrong with the whole electoral process, and it makes it even worse. So clearly, what we have now is not the correct state. Zimbabwe is in shambles. The currency since the election has collapsed to zero. So the Zimbabwe dollar that was there has collapsed to zero, has been replaced by a new currency called the ZiG, and the ZiG is also collapsing. Right now, as you speak, the ZiG is collapsing. It's not available, and people have been arrested for refusing to use the ZiG. We've got right now over 200 people in jail who've been arrested for refusing to use the ZiG. As we speak, we've got over 80 people in jail, opposition supporters, that have been arrested for gathering at the house of Timber, one of the opposition leaders who had a meeting. They arrested a lot of people over there. 5 people were arrested last week from Job Scholars Party. And this is mounting. And as I'm saying, it's not possible to hold a protest in Zimbabwe. And I propose to people that before we even think about holding a protest in Zimbabwe, we must deal with the agenda of SADC. What is on the agenda? So join us and join me specifically in Zambia on the 13th of July. I'm going to be in Zambia, and it's a Saturday. It's going to be a one-day event. The purpose of the protest in SADC, in Zambia, is not to make any big change around Zambia. It's focused on SADC and the SADC Ministerial Committee of the organ. So there's no need for the Zambians to be afraid that there will be any violence or any disruption, and Zimbabweans are going to be very orderly. All Zimbabweans are going to do is go to the venue of the MCO meeting and make sure that the MCO meeting puts Zimbabwe on the agenda, and that is all. So the reason why I'm saying this is because starting yesterday, Mnangagwa's people have been frantically approaching the Zambians. And I said this in the morning. They've been frantically approaching the Zambians here in countries like South Africa, in countries like Zimbabwe, also in Zambia itself. They've been frantically approaching them, trying to remind them that they've got some sort of arrangement where Zambia and Zimbabwe are supposed to reciprocate and avoid crimes being committed in both countries. They've also tried to remind the Zambians that Zimbabweans who are going to demonstrate in those countries are going to cause violence and so forth. But I want to assure the Zambian government that Zimbabweans are very orderly people. The only violent person in Zimbabwe. So let me show you the violent person. You see on this picture on the right, or on my right, is Mnangagwa. That is the only violent person in Zimbabwe. The rest of the people are not violent. And Zimbabweans are very orderly people. All Zimbabweans are demanding is that there must be a proper process and there must be a proper investigation of the election process, and that there must be a dialogue which is mediated. There is no country where there's no dialogue. Even South Africa right now, they've started the process of national dialogue. We need national dialogue with Zimbabwe, but Zimbabweans are clear. They no longer want Mnangagwa in office. Mnangagwa must step down, and Zimbabweans want a fresh election because the whole process is flawed. And the massive corruption that has been exposed recently, it makes it clear that Mnangagwa is no longer fit to be the president of Zimbabwe. And this is clear. So I want to look at a few points that I might have forgotten here. And as I said, we are going to be protesting right in front of the venue. I'm going to be personally there. So you're going to come to where I'll be, and we're going to be live streaming the whole event. So I'm going to be there. You're going to be seeing me. All you need to do is come to us, university students, residents of Zimbabwe, Zimbabweans who are in Zambia, and Zambians who want to show solidarity to Zimbabweans, come over to the venue. We want to have 10,000 people at the venue. So the goal is 10,000 people. But even if I'm the only person there, you are going to get the message, and the message is going to be very, very clear. And SADC is watching every move that we make. So I want you guys to know that there is nobody in Southern Africa who is not watching what we're seeing here. And already everyone knows that the Mnangagwa chairmanship of SADC is an embarrassment of the highest proportion. For a body like SADC to have a president like a chairman like Mnangagwa is so embarrassing. And Mnangagwa should have done a favor for SADC and said, I don't want this anymore. Because if Mnangagwa was to become chairperson of SADC, this would be the lowest moment in the history of SADC. Because you're going to have a person who has rigged an election, a person that has decimated the opposition, a person that has been responsible for the killing of opposition supporters and refusal to investigate, sitting as chairperson of SADC. I have personally written to the Commissioner General of the Police, Matanga, and I've written a number of letters. We've even got to the point of writing a letter to Parliament, Protection of Information Act letters, and all these letters have been ignored. Mnangagwa does not want anything to do with human rights, and his administration is a very, very big problem. If there was a protest in Zimbabwe, Mnangagwa would kill people, you shoot people, and people will be killed. Very easy. There's no doubt about it. I've got no doubt that Mnangagwa would do it, and he will have no remorse about the whole thing. So it's clear that our country of Zimbabwe is fed up, and many, many young people want change. However, the only thing standing on the way of change right now is Mnangagwa. It's not ZANU-PF. I always tell people that in South Africa, there's been an election. ANC and the DA, EFF, MK, they've all worked together. They've dealt with it. But when it comes to Zimbabwe, Mnangagwa has made sure that no other opposition party exists. Just yesterday, the general in the Zimbabwe National Army, and I'm going to show you a picture here. This is Anselm Sanyatwe. And Sanyatwe, don't worry about him. What he's saying is he's just talking. But what he said is that they're going to continue to steal elections. They're going to continue with command voting, where they force people to vote for Mnangagwa, and that they're not going to respect the will of the people of Zimbabwe. The reason why I'm saying to Zimbabweans, don't worry about Sanyatwe, I want to assure you that people like Sanyatwe, they are one out of thousands of young Zimbabwean military who don't want Mnangagwa. And people like Sanyatwe, within a very few short weeks or months, they are going to be back here talking about it. They will not get away with this kind of statements. And I see people writing letters to certain organizations or to Sanyatwe or to the army. Do not worry about that. Don't write letters. Don't do anything. a military man must know that he's not supposed to make political statements. This is the last time you see military people making political statements. You are not going to see this kind of thing again. And I have explained to you that the kind of people that are coming in, they are not going to tolerate the kind of thing that Sanyato did yesterday, which is to make a political statement. I've shown you before in the past Sanyato making a political statement. And these guys don't understand. Kuti, if you make this kind of statements, you're now removing yourself from a neutral position. And the people who are going to come against you are also going to remove themselves from what they're supposed to do. They're going to put themselves in a certain position, which you will not necessarily like. So I just want to say, but for now, I won't say much. But let's not forget that our military, our police have been compromised. But it's not everyone that is compromised. So these guys, when they make these statements, they are putting themselves in certain positions which are sort of unfavorable. And I want to display right now the picture of Pastor Tahmane Masai here. As I was saying, I've been writing letters and pushing as much as possible. The police have refused to investigate the death of Pastor Tahmane Masai. This is strictly due to the recalls. After the elections, the stolen elections, Mnangagwa has gone on to cause the death of Pastor Tahmane Masai through his son-in-law, Scott Sakupanya. And they've refused to investigate. As we speak right now, the postmortem has shown clearly that after they took him, they killed him, murdered him, and left his body at Cleveland Dam. And these are the kind of things I'm talking about. We cannot have a government in place that is like this. And that is why national dialogue is essential. Because without national dialogue, the thing that is going to happen is worse than you can imagine. So, I'm seeing you've been with me for a very, very long time. And I apologize for keeping you for this long. However, what I'm going to do is I'm going to invite more people here. I've been traveling this whole week. And I want to invite you guys to come and join me in Zambia so that we can be together. And we need to have the biggest protest ever in Zambia. So if you're in Zimbabwe, make sure you're in Zambia. From Zimbabwe to Lusaka, it's a short 4 hours, 5 hours drive. It's probably 6 to 7 hours by bus. Get over there. If you're a vendor or a trader, make sure that you arrange your journey so that by the 13th, you're in Lusaka. If you're able to fly to Zambia. Let's have the biggest possible demonstration. And if you're already based in Lusaka, make sure that you sit over there on the 13th, be in town as early as possible. Let's make a statement. The statement that we want to make is to make sure that 10,000 people can congregate in front of the venue and stand there and listen to speeches. That's all we want to do. We want to make sure that Mnangagwa can hear it and can understand what we're saying. And the one thing that I want to say is that in our country, there's going to be a new kind of leadership. We no longer want the old kind of leadership where politics was done in the shadows. We want politics that is done in the open. We want our country to do well. And under Mnangagwa, that's not possible. Mnangagwa is the problem in Zimbabwe. As I said, ZANU-PF is not the problem. The problem is Mnangagwa. Mnangagwa and his leadership skill and leadership style is destroying our country. It's not ZANU-PF. So you must understand me that ZANU-PF is going to be there just the same way as ANC is there. But they will lose power. However, we cannot say Mnangagwa can be there. Mnangagwa is the problem, is the one that is supposed to go. So I think Mkoma Wangu has ran away. I don't know why he ran away, but he has ran away. So let's go to the comments. Nesta Chikwanda, Zambia to do what, my brother? We're not Zambians. If we want to see better tomorrow in our country, we should demonstrate in Zimbabwe. Right, guys, do not listen to Nesta. Do not confront Mnangagwa head on. He's going to shoot to kill. They are setting a trap for you. If you protest in Zimbabwe before Zimbabwe is on the agenda. So let me emphasize this point. If Zimbabwe is not on the agenda, what Mnangagwa is going to do is he's going to make sure that the leaders are far away. Like he's going to make them go far away from everyone. Like he's going to put them on a venue that is so far away from everyone. And then as you try to move to that place, Mnangagwa is going to shoot to kill, and you won't be able to get help. However, if Zimbabwe is on the agenda, then you won't be able to shoot to kill. That is why you must make sure that Zimbabwe is on the agenda. That is the reason why you must protest in Zambia. And all the people that know strategy, they know what I'm talking about here. Zimbabwe is not on the agenda. So whatever Mnangagwa does, it will be like you're just mischievous. But if Zimbabwe is on the agenda and those 3 items are on the agenda, then you're not mischievous. You're doing something to do with the actual thing on the agenda, and you'll be allowed to protest, and you get protection from all the countries, because Mnangagwa won't kill you if Zimbabwe is being discussed. Mnangagwa can't be chairperson when Zimbabwe is being discussed and Zimbabwe is on the agenda. He can't chair a discussion on himself. That is why Zimbabwe needs to be on the agenda, and you guys need to understand what we're talking about here. It's very, very important. And I know many people want this to happen. Many people want to protest in Zambia, and we need to make it happen. And every day, we must emphasize, this is going to be a long fight. It's not going to be a 1-day fight. It's not going to be a 2-day fight. It's going to take a year. It's going to take more than a year to change our country. Our country is in one of the worst states, and that is where we want to fix our country. Let's go to other comments here. My brother Mkoma, Mr. Lep TV, protest Tinoida Kuno. Yes, we're going to come to Mtare later on, but first of all, let's fix the situation of the agenda. So guys, understand the agenda, understand the process. You must understand the process. How do you remove Mnangagwa? You don't go and stand in front of the building and say, Mnangagwa, get out. He's going to shoot to kill. What you do is follow a process. And that process starts with getting Mnangagwa on the agenda of SADC. At the moment, Mnangagwa is not on the agenda of SADC. Mnangagwa has even made sure that SADC has removed his name. The actual events calendar of SADC does not reflect key events. This MCO meeting I'm talking about here is not there on the SADC agenda, on the SADC events calendar, because they know what will happen if they put it over there. Mnangagwa is terrified of people. He's terrified that people are going to come and protest against him. So this is very, very important for you to understand what is happening here. I want to, I know Tim Komachidembo are there. Please get ready. I'm going to put you in the next few minutes. And I invite all the other people to come. Tsitsi, come here and talk. Do not be in the comments. Tsitsi, you're here. I see you. You're saying we're lying, right? Come and talk here. I'm going to give you the link again. I want those people that want to question this strategy to come here. Don't talk in the comments, and let's hear what you have to say. Mkomachidembo, are you ready? Just show me by a lift of the finger there, and then I'll get you in. Okay, I cannot clearly see you, but I'm going to add you on stage. How are you, Mkoma? Yes, yes, I see you.
And you? Yes.
Fantastic. Okay. What do you have to say about the topic today?
It's a bit confusing, okay? Because we're hearing a lot of information, but we don't have a clear strategy. I've been here in Zambia for the past 20 years, and I'm willing to demonstrate, but we need concrete information that can make us come out in numbers. We are so many here in Zambia, and a lot of us want to go back home. And we can only do that once we go, and I'm actually willing to meet even the president of Zambia so that I can actually speak to him directly about what is happening in Zimbabwe, because the elections were deemed sham, but to my surprise, he's being accepted wherever the SADC goes. So that's my concern as well. So what is our strategy? That's the question that I have.
Okay. Mkoma, I think that's an important question. And what I will do is let me let you drop off, and then I'll answer your question, except if you've got more questions.
Okay, for now I can drop off. It's fine.
Okay. All right, cool. So let me explain what Mkoma Chidembo said. And Mkoma Mukuze, I'm seeing you, so I'll call you up again. Let me explain what has happened. there's a number of SADC institutions. Last week, I was in Botswana. I visited the SADC Secretariat, and you all saw me there. And the reason why I went to SADC was a fact-finding mission. And what we found out from the fact-finding mission is that Mnangagwa is already the incoming chairperson of SADC. So let's start there. Mnangagwa is already the incoming chairperson of SADC. This means the SADC summit is only coming to Zimbabwe to anoint Mnangagwa. It's not coming for anything else. So that is the first problem. The second problem is that the CIOM report is not on the agenda of SADC. According to the letters that I showed you about 2 weeks ago, the CIOM report is only going to be discussed in 2 years' time. Thirdly, the dialogue on Zimbabwe is not an issue. SADC has said there is nothing to discuss on Zimbabwe. The matter of Zimbabwe is already water under the bridge, and Zimbabweans must talk among themselves. So the strategy is to overturn those three. Firstly, Mnangagwa cannot be chairperson of SADC if Zimbabwe is on the agenda. I don't know if you guys understand. So first we have to make sure that Mnangagwa is on the agenda, Zimbabwe is on the agenda, the CIOM report is on the agenda. Then Mnangagwa cannot be chairperson of SADC because he can't chair a meeting which is discussing himself. Immediately that happens, then we're going to have dialogue leading to new and fresh elections and leading to Mnangagwa stepping down. But without that happening, it won't happen. You won't be able to get Mnangagwa out. And don't think you can demonstrate and Mnangagwa will leave. He's not going to do that. He's not going to step down. Mnangagwa will never step down from office for anyone. So, Mkomaji, I don't know if you've understood or if you've got other questions.
I have understood that, but my worry is, especially when you look at the current Zambian president, with what Mnangagwa did with Putin and all that, why are they still anointing him to take over the chairmanship? Yet he is somebody that is proving that he doesn't even have faith with his own people. Ask the black people. You know, I'm proud to be black. And I've heard a lot of people say, this person is a puppet of this one is a puppet of this. So do people say we can't think for ourselves? If I'm hungry, do I need a white man to come and tell me that I'm hungry? Or do I need a Chinese to come and tell me I'm hungry? I think those are the questions that I have. Even SADC itself, is it a gentleman's club or it's an organization for us as citizens of SADC, or they just worry about the leadership of SADC?
Okay, that's where we need to understand the process. And I think most people, the problem is they don't understand the process, how it works. So the SADC chairmanship, first of all, it goes by rotation. Zimbabwe was not next in line. Next in line was Seychelles. I've explained this in the past. However, Seychelles didn't have money. So Seychelles said, we don't want to be the chairperson of SADC. And then Mnangagwa said, I want to be the chairperson of SADC and I'll pay money to do it. And there was a vote which said, who wants Mnangagwa to be chairperson? Who wants Mnangagwa to be chairperson? And the rest of the guys voted. The ones who said no, they were outvoted by the ones who said yes. That's how Mnangagwa ended up as chairperson of SADC. He was voted in by the other presidents. And what is left right now is for just to formally hand over. Do you get where we are right now?
Yeah, I am getting you. I'm getting you.
Yes. So the only way we can stop it is us, the people. It's not the leaders anymore. It's the Zimbabweans and the Zambians and the young people and the students. Those are the people that can stop Mnangagwa from being chairperson. And the way to do that is to put Mnangagwa on the agenda. The moment he's on the agenda, he can't be chairperson. It's automatic. They have to find a new person to be president, to be chairperson of SADC. In fact, what is going to happen is president of Angola, you see the president of Angola here.
Yes.
He's going to remain the chairperson of SADC. If that happens. It has happened before. Mnangagwa was supposed to be chairperson of SADC in 2017, but he failed to be chairperson because of the coup. They did not allow him to become the chairperson of SADC. So people must understand the process. They must not just rush to say, let's protest in Zimbabwe. That makes no sense.
Okay, I hear you. I'm with you.
Okay, so I hope to see you at the venue then, in that case.
So in this case, we actually need to have a number. I've got somebody that I spoke to a couple of days ago. He has a radio station. So probably, let me see in the next, probably by Saturday, if I can also link you up. We go to the radio station. We also go on air and we try and explain some of the way you're explaining, so that we a lot of people understand how it works. Because the challenge, I think, is most of us, we don't know the processes, and we that's why we.
Okay, so I'm so sorry, my brother seems to have lost his network there.
Yeah,
but I see he's coming back.
Yeah, I'm back. So that's the reason why I'm saying we need to have more people on board by going to different radio stations and explaining the processes, so that a lot of us understand how it's done, so that a lot of people can have interest to actually come and demonstrate. Because as it stands,
yes,
very few people are saying, Gambakwe, we don't trust you. You know, people are saying a lot of things, I'm sure.
Don't trust Gambakwe. Don't worry about Gambakwe. Gambakwe is no one. If you don't listen to the important facts, munofana nzara, and nzara yamunofanayo inokonzerwa na Mnangagwa, because Mnangagwa uraya vanhu nzara. Yes, all I'm saying to you is, don't listen to the side shows, because there's a particular program by Mnangagwa to make sure that people don't believe what we're saying. So remember, what Mnangagwa has got a bunch of people who can say a lot of things just to try to distract you. Remember the facts.
The resources.
Yes, remember the facts. The facts speak for themselves. And listen to the argument. And Gambakwe has got so many people who follow it in Zambia. I think you can tell with what happened with the Putin video. We are the first people to put out that video. And there's no one who doesn't know the Gambakwe is the first source of news. So, Mkoma, what I want to convince you is, this is the last chance. There's no other chance after this. We are at the last moment in our country for us to be able to turn back this thing. And you see what has happened to Nelson Chamisa. They've decimated Nelson Chamisa. They've frustrated him out of the political field. Do not allow them to do the same to Gambakwe, because Gambakwe is right now the only person giving you the correct information.
Okay, Mkoma, thank you very much. I will join in the protest. So let's mobilize. Let's have the numbers. I'll be there. Thank you. Yes, but
I want the students. I want mostly the students in Zambia. I want all the students in Zambia, the Zimbabwean students in Zambia. Come to where I'll be. I'll show you the venue. Very soon, we'll show you the venue, because SADC is also hiding the venue. So we're going to make sure that we'll give you all the information. I'm going to be over there personally, and I'll be streaming live during that whole period. From the 12th to the 14th, I'll be in Zambia. And we'll make sure that all these things are properly broadcast.
Okay, that would be great. That would be great. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Is there anything else you want to say before we let you go?
For now, I can just say, a luta continua. Let's fight for our motherland. We want our freedom. We want our country back. Thank you very much.
And thank you, Mkoma, and I'll see you when I get there on Saturday.
Okay, cheers. Good night and God bless.
Right, thank you very much, everyone. And I think there's someone who was waiting for me for over an hour, wanted to talk. Unfortunately, because of all this talking that we've been doing, they kind of missed this discussion. But what I want to say is, we are at a critical moment. And this needs a sustained and directed effort. So you can't come for one day and go. This is going to be sustained and daily. It's going to be, it needs a focus. We need to be very, very focused. And Mnangagwa is feeling the heat. As I said to you, right now he's bothering the Zambians. He's going to anyone that he can find in Zambia to try to disrupt the SADC protest. He's deploying more agents. He's doing anything that is possible in Zambia. But you're going to see me, I'm going to walk into Zambia. We're going to do this. I'm going to walk out of Zambia and without any incident at all. And it's also specifically, I just want to tell you something. People like Sanyatwe, we are not even afraid of them. Sanyatwe is the last person that I'm worried about. Because Musoja, Kanakatawara's politics is just like someone who is exposed himself. I can assure you right now, he must walk with eyes at the back of his head because of what he's done. People are so unhappy, including the guys in the army. They're not happy with what's happening now. And Sanyatu is just exposing himself. He must just stop this behavior because he's just putting himself a big target on his back. That's what he's doing right now. And all I want to explain is where we're going. It's no longer like before. This kind of thing of threatening people is not going to be allowed. And I don't want to seem like I know a lot more than I do, but you're not going to be allowed to threaten people with death. People are not Gen fan and all that. When you make those statements that you're making, be very careful, because within a very short space of time, there's going to be massive change in our country. And some people who are just being used are going to deliberately find themselves in problems. And I'm seeing good someone is calling me here, so I'm just going to mute and see if someone wants to talk. So just give me a second to mute here. Okay, guys, he doesn't want to go live. He wants to talk to me when I'm live. It's crazy. I've never seen such a thing. Okay, so what I'm going to do, if you want to go live, you know how to click on this, but I don't want to stay longer than this. I've already talked too much. Guys, I've been traveling every weekend for the past 3 weeks just to get this sorted. And what we eventually want to do is want to create a platform, want to create structures. And I'm not saying Guti, we're going to take over what Nelson Chamisa is doing. Chamisa is there. Let me assure you guys. Chamisa is there. Chamisa is the one who's going to be the dialogue. But you're going to see me. You know why you're going to see me? I was asked by the groups, all the groups that started this protest, to represent them as the channel of communication. So the Blue Movement, the Zimbabwe Intercessors Movement, all the churches, and Pastor Marangi, they've realized that Gambakwe is the biggest media channel in Zimbabwe. So they've asked me in writing, I've got letters for this, to make sure that I communicate anything to do with this protest. So the only thing which we agreed was that I'm going to be live every day on the protest. So you're going to see me every day on the protest. It's not going to stop. And you're going to see me representing the organizers in many different platforms. So when there's going to be an actual protest, you're going to see me. And when there's going to be, let's say there's going to be dialogue, I'm going to be there. You're going to see me at the dialogue, because there's nothing that should be done in secret. You shouldn't be told, Kuti, something happened. That politics of the past is over. So you're going to see me every single day. So let's see if there's another comment here. Someone is writing Gambakwe blog, Tsitsi. I don't know what this is all about. Reason. I don't understand what you're saying. Then block Tsitsi. Okay, block Tsitsi. Why should I block Tsitsi? There's nothing wrong with Tsitsi. Let us say what she's saying. She's saying Aluta Chamisa. It's fine. It's fine. Chamisa Aluta. But the Aluta is not enough, guys. We need to do more. What I'm saying is, let's say Nelson Chamisa does not come back. What are you going to do? And this is possible, that Chamisa does not come back. What are you going to do? So that's why I'm saying, guys, let's get this organized. Let's work on this together. If you're a student, it's SRCs, if you're churches, if you're everyone, organize yourself. 13 July, let's be in Zambia. No matter what happens, let's be in Zambia. We can gather there, congregate, have a huge crowd. Even if Zambia changes the venue, we're going to do it in Zambia. That is where we've chosen to protest, where we won't be killed, and where no one is going to be harmed. I don't want a single person to be killed by Mnangagwa, because Mnangagwa is going to shoot to kill. And we don't want that. Mnangagwa, we don't want him to physically kill people again. So I think we've said enough here. And I would like to thank all of you, and I would like to appreciate the pastors who give me support. I am under surveillance all the time now. Strange enough, when I drop off at the airport, I'm under surveillance. When I'm walking around, I'm under surveillance. Crazy, but it doesn't matter, guys. Remember, I'm not the politician. I happen to be providing the platform. So looking at me is wasting time. And I'm sure that you can see now we have convergence. To my channel, Gambakwe with this, Gambakwe with that. Apana, you must come and apologize to me. Now you know the truth. We need to all focus together and talk the same language. So I don't want any channel that ever mentioned my name to just go quiet. I want them to apologize in public so that everyone knows Kuti, we're together. We also want all the leaders of all political formations to come. We want every political leader to support this effort of Zambia. This is very, very important for you guys to do this. And I saw Kuti, when I said I'm under surveillance, there was a huge number of people who just came in from Norway. They want to know, like, if I know that I'm under surveillance. I am under surveillance. It's crazy. I can't believe it. Like, the moment I arrived at the airport today, I don't know how many cars were following me today. I think like 2 or 3, just trying to see where I was going. But it's cool. Guys, as long as we're doing God's work, we're protected. And what I can tell you is that this is a spiritual duty. We are at a critical moment in our life, a moment that you've never seen. And the country that is going to emerge on the other side is one of the best countries in the world. We're going to have a new leadership. We're going to have people that, like when people see Zimbabwe, and it's now I'm banning you because they're distracting. The people that are going to, the country that we're going to end up with is extremely, extremely beautiful. Zimbabweans are going to come back from all over the world, and it's going to be amazing. We're going to love our country. We're going to be a pride. People are going to be proud of being Zimbabwean. I see people crying in the UK. They want to come back home. People in South Africa want to come back home. You hear the people in Zambia, they want to come back home. Let's make this happen. The period in the past where we're waiting for a Messiah to come is over. It's the young people that are going to save us. So I want every young person, ask for bus fare from your mom, ask for bus fare from your dad. If you're in Zambia already, come to where we're going to be. Let's make a bold statement against Mnangagwa, because in Zimbabwe, Mnangagwa is going to kill people. And let's stop this once and for all. We cannot have our country like this forever. Right, thank you very much, everyone, for watching. And let me take a rest. It's been hectic, and I'm going to be traveling again very, very soon. And to me, it's a spiritual duty, and we're going to make it happen. We won't quit, we won't stop, because the time is now, and God is in it. Thank you.